Alright. Hello everyone. We're about to get underway with one of the last group stage matches of the Clubhouse Games tournament. We have MidiPlayz versus IronMadden. We're going to be watching a MidiPlayz screen up in front, but IronMadden also has a stream running, so if there's any card games, we'll get to see both of their hands. I'm just going to get the randomizer up so we can pick our first game here, and then we'll get going. Excuse me. One second. Let's do this. Randomizer doesn't want to appear. That's nice. Where is it? Alright, let's try that again. Sorry, one sec, guys. Technical issues shouldn't take more than a second to fix. There we go. But let's not get full screen. Just need this bit. Alright. And say, wait, 51, 50, 49, 40. It's a 47, right? 47. Alright, let's randomize the first one. We got 38. Game 38. I'm not sure what that is off the top of my head. Hopefully one of them can check for us. Toy curling will be the first game if they agree to play. They have a skip, but they're good to go. So we're going to start with toy curling here, which we have seen a few times before. Often it is said that the person to go second gets the win, but we've actually seen people start first and then win, so anything can happen. You never know. Oh yes, and the player whose name is Zachary on screen, that is IronMadden. So Iron is going for block strat, I think. I think that was on purpose, where you just block the opponent's side entirely, so they can't even shoot anything out. It's actually a pretty good play, especially if you're the first player, because the second player is going to have the last go. And you have to make sure that that your stone is closest to the center of the target by the last shot. Hello, WizKid. So right now, definitely Iron has a lot of stones closer to the center, but you can see that Midi is also trying to block off Iron. Iron was blocking Midi at the start, but now all of his stones are a lot more spread out. But Midi really just sending all of his stones up onto Iron's side. So right now it's looking really good for Midi. And Midi did go second here. So he even has that advantage of being able to throw the last stone out. I think at some point Iron's going to have to knock these out of the way. He only has a couple shots left now. But I'm not sure how he's going to get a stone out. There's just so much clutter. Yeah, that one didn't even go anywhere. It actually kind of just blocked him. Alright, last one for Iron. He needs this to be near the center, or... Yeah, so we already have a Midi near the center. Midi just needs to chuck this wherever, and he'll take the win. So we did get the second player to win, but, you know, good job. GG. There's still 4 more games to be played. And it actually turns out that whoever beats the other player this match will move on in the tournament. So first to 3, basically. And if there's a tie, it's different. But alright, so let's get the second randomized game going here. It is 12, which is... I actually have my Switch open. Chinese checkers, if they are down for Chinese checkers. Just let them know. They'll decide if they want to use their one skip or play it. See what they're gonna do. Midi says he's good. Iron says he's good, so they're gonna do it. So the one thing with Chinese checkers is we had an experience earlier in the tournament with the CPU being very sneaky and the CPU put one of his own marbles into one of our players' goals, preventing them from putting their last marble in, and they held it there long enough for their opponent to win. So yeah, CPU can do some nasty stuff. Oh, CPU should not be on impossible. Alright, yeah. Alright, they're all set up and they're gonna move in to the game whenever they're ready. Alright, here we go. So we have Midi with the blue marbles, IronMadden with pink, also known as Zachary, and then the CPU is green. It's a 3-player game. It's always 3 players. So there's one move you can make at the start that allows you to skip a marble ahead. Actually, there's a couple of moves that allow you to skip a marble ahead a few spaces. I think neither, or no, well, Midi has a bit of a skip he can do. There's some opening strats for this game, but it looks like Midi's actually already setting up a nice line. He can hop one of his marbles 2 steps next turn, like this turn right now, if he feels like it. But he might be still setting up stuff. The beginning of this game, you're very free to do whatever you want, because your opponents can't really mess with your marbles in any way. They can't block you very easily. But as the game goes on, it gets a lot harder to know what your opponents are going to do and how that'll affect where your marbles can go. But this zigzag pattern that Midi has is really good because he can actually just keep going back and forth like a snake, bringing that line of blue marbles up to the top. He just has to bring the bottom one, skip 2, and now he has a new one at the top and a new one at the bottom. Bottom one, skip 2, and so on and so forth. So that was okay. Where did that come from? I was like, how can he possibly put his marble out there? So, but it turns out he used the CPU's marbles to bring one of his blue marbles only one place away from the goal. That was a pretty wild move. That might have been a 5 skip right there. 5 skip was a I think it was 5. It might have been 6. Pretty sure it was 5. 5 skip was a mission in the original Clubhouse games for Chinese checkers, and all the missions were usually pretty difficult things to accomplish in these games. So that was kind of impressive. Iron, meanwhile, he's got a pretty nice line. All of his marbles are grouped together, which is what you usually want, unless you can get one out towards the end without having to sacrifice any nice setup you have. Oh man, though. Midi getting already 2 of his marbles just steps away from his goal. The rest of his marbles, though, they're not really set up in any way for him to get them ahead. He doesn't have any moves this turn. He just has to bring one of his marbles up 1 somewhere. Can't do any multi-skips that are very useful this turn. And I missed it, but Midi actually also has one of his pieces right next to his goal too. I don't know where these skips are coming from. I think they kind of just fall out of the game. I think if Chinese checkers didn't give you indicators of where your marbles could go, it would be very easy to miss a lot of these moves. Because it's not always obvious. Players are taking a good amount of time to think about each move, which you can tell that they both want to win this so they can move on. Nice play by Midi there, getting one piece in his goal, so he's a sixth of the way to the win. Let's hope that the CPU doesn't try any funny business though with either player. The CPU has a marble very close to both of the players' goals right now. It is not the same CPU that screwed over Dragons though. That was the redhead CPU. We have a black-haired CPU by the looks of it. And Iron actually, he's going to get a third piece in his goal already. I mean, Midi can too, but Iron moves second, I believe. Actually, don't quote me on that. It's hard to say who's ahead. I think both Iron and Midi are very close. Iron though has that one pink marble that's just kind of out in the middle of nowhere. All he can do is push that one ahead, or hope that a CPU brings one of his marbles close. Okay, he's bringing that lone marble a bit closer. But man, it's not getting any assistance. Meanwhile, Midi's just, all of his marbles are right next to his goal. It's going to be a bit of a process to organize them, so Iron still has time. But there's basically no chance of the CPU winning this. The normal CPU is not good enough. Interesting play by Iron, bringing his piece into the CPU's starting area. Okay, now it looks like Midi is maybe five or so steps away from a win. He can get a piece easily into the back. He just needs to find a way to set up the last two pieces. So Iron's gonna need to do something here fast if he wants to block Midi's win. Because Iron has a few more moves than Midi to take the win here. Yeah, now Midi is 1, 2, maybe 3 steps away. This will probably go to Midi unless Iron has a trick up his sleeve. Or the CPU. But I think the CPU is pretty clear of being able to mess around with the situation too much. Iron thinking carefully though about his move here, seeing if he can do anything. Alright, and that's going to be a win for Midi as soon as he can move his next piece. As long as the CPU doesn't use his skip. Okay, there we go. There we go, so nice win by Midi there. That makes it 2-0 for Midi. He's 1 away from taking the whole game and moving on in the tournament. But anything could happen. Once again, there's never been a 5-0 match so far in the tournament, which kind of is surprising, but it just shows that there's such a variety of games that everyone has something they're good at. Alright, oh, well, I don't even need to check what that is. We got number 1. The game that somehow always shows up in the tournament, Mancala. Mancala has to be the most common game in the tournament, and it's completely random, so we don't know how it keeps showing up, but it does. Mancala. Yeah. Mancala once again. Mancala luckily is a very fun game, at least in my opinion. And it sounds like they're okay with it, so we're going to see Mancala as the third game. Again, Iron needs to win this, or tie. I think you can tie in Mancala. You must be able to, but because there's an even amount of marbles, but I haven't seen a tie in this game personally. If you don't know how Mancala works, you're trying to get all your seeds, which are those marbles, to your store, which is the long pocket at the end. Actually, sorry, you're trying to get the most seeds in your store by the end of the game. And you do that by taking seeds, choosing a pocket, taking the seeds out, and dropping them one at a time as you go clockwise around the board. If you drop a seed into your store, if that's the last move, then you get an extra turn. And if you drop a seed into one of your empty pockets, and across from that your opponent has seeds, you get to take all of them. So there's a way to capture your opponent's seeds. That might have sounded confusing, but it's actually a very simple game with a lot of strategy behind it. So right now, Midi doesn't have a lot of marbles on his side, which doesn't necessarily mean anything. He just has to make sure that he doesn't finish off. Ooh, he just got a nice capture there. 9 seeds in one go. You want to make sure that you're not the first to finish if your opponent still has a lot of seeds left in their pockets, because if you clear out all your pockets on your side, your opponent gets to take all their seeds from all their pockets and dump them into their store. So you don't want to finish with your opponent having a lot left in their pockets. Yeah, Midi can actually move on in the tournament by winning this game of Mancala. He already has a win, and if he wins this match, he has 2 wins, and that's enough to continue. And right now, it's looking pretty good. Midi has a ton of marbles already. If you get 25 in your store, it's already a done deal, because there's 48 marbles in the game. Or I should call them seeds. I'm pretty sure that the technical term is seeds, but they just look like marbles to me. Capture. Let's see, how many does... That's 15, so not quite, you know, there's still time for Iron to pull off some tricks here. Or maybe they're called stones. I just checked. I think they're called stones. Where did I hear seeds? I'm gonna call them stones from now on. Stones is the term, apparently. Ooh, so it looks like Midi is considering moving his giant pocket. That would actually wrap around, and it's possible to wrap around the board enough to capture your opponent's pieces, but instead he just goes for that 1 stone to grab his opponent's. Alright, now he's taking that 10, moving it around. He does get a capture. Just a couple of stones, but that puts him at 20. Now, one thing that's not good for Midi is that Iron has a ton of stones left in his pockets. And Midi is basically just forced to... Ooh, well, Iron just left open a 4 pocket, which is a bit of a blunder, unfortunately. That does put Midi at 25 stones. That's already a win, actually. Midi just took the win with that move. 25 stones is enough that your opponent cannot catch up. The most stones that Iron can get is 23 if he gets all the rest. So GG to Midi. We're just going to watch the game finish, though. See what the final score is. And we'll play all the games, you know, we're going to have fun. But a really good job by Midi so far. Showing some expertise in a large variety of games. A lot of captures from Midi. It seems like that was Midi's strategy here. Always look on the lookout for those captures. And now Midi's probably just gonna stall. Yep, just stalled and actually gonna finish with a huge amount of stones. Let's see, what is this, like 34? 36 to 12? My gosh. Tripled Iron's score. Really good job by Midi there. It's gonna make it 3-0. Midi takes the win, but we're gonna play the rest of the matches because it's fun. And that's what we're here for. So let's go. What's our next game? Number 7. Let me check. What is number 7? Number 7 is Hex. Not many people's favorite game. Very strategic. But let's see if they're down to play this funny game. We've seen it at least once before in the tournament. Midi's down to skip. And they're both down to skip, which I can't blame them. Hex is confusing, very strategic, but also very short. Instead, we're going to do Renegade, also known as Othello, also known as Reversey, also known as Turncoat. It's the game of a million names. Iron saying, "Oh God." Not sure if it's the backup game he wanted here. But they have to do it anyways because they've already used their skip now. Let me get rid of that randomizer. Alright. So, this game, you can get very good at it. There is a way to learn this game. But if you've ever played it, it can feel like you have no idea how your move's going to affect the game. You know how it's going to affect it in the turn you do it, but it's really hard to tell what it's going to do in the future. One thing to keep in mind for this one, so if you don't know the rules of Renegade, you just want to put down pieces, and if you have a piece across your opponent's piece, like just then, if there's a piece between the piece you just placed down and a piece you have already down with an opponent's piece in between, your opponent has to flip over that, and then you get that color. That doesn't make any sense. It's probably easier just to watch and see what happens. But you want to end with the most pieces face up in your color. One way you can assure that one of your pieces will remain your color is you get a piece in the corner. If you have a piece in the corner, it can never be flipped by your opponent. So the corners are considered very powerful. The game actually shows you dots on the board to show you where you can place a piece. You can't just place it anywhere, and you can't just pass. The only way you can pass is if you have no moves available, which can happen. Next to the corners, the sides of the boards are pretty powerful, but you have to be very careful when taking the side of the board like Midi just did there. Because he does control that side of the board right now, but he won't necessarily control it forever. Iron just has to make sure he doesn't place a piece right next to Midi's piece on the side of the board at the bottom, because Midi can just place one right next to that, and then they'll capture that. Ooh, so Midi getting a corner, just like that. That corner is permanently his, but it doesn't mean he's won or anything. Just a nice foothold on the board. And there's still 3 corners left. Both players have a lot of moves available. It's possible to force your opponent to have no moves in it. It can be a very brutal game if that's what's going on, but it seems like both players are about at the same level. Ooh, but so Midi did just kind of mess up. Gave Iron an opportunity to just take that piece on the end of the board, but it doesn't look like Iron saw it, and now Midi's just going to take advantage of that by the looks of it. Yep. Claim that side of the board as well. And now the same thing just occurred at the bottom of the board. Once again, Midi didn't see it, and now Iron's going to take advantage of it. So now Iron has good control at the bottom of the board. So kind of balanced out, actually. So Iron actually has decent control of the top and bottom, while wait, sorry, I might have got the names messed up. Iron has good control of the top and bottom. Midi has good control of the right side of the board. Now Midi going for the left side of the board. Iron just has to make sure he doesn't put a piece next to that one. In real life, you just gotta flip them one at a time. And I watched a tournament match of this on YouTube, and they actually, it was a real Renegade tournament, and they forgot to flip pieces now and then, so yeah. It's so much easier when a computer can do it for you. So right now, if this was the end of the result of the game right now, well, I would say it's about tied. I'm not going to count all the pieces out, but it looks like they're about even. But that really does not tell you what the outcome of the game will be. it can change drastically. Very quickly, it can change very drastically. But Iron's doing a good job of controlling the bottom. He should take that piece at the bottom there. Midi's just going to claim the whole bottom of the board then. Oh, that's unfortunate. Iron just lost a huge foothold. But he did claim a corner. So maybe that kind of benefited him. You know, that might have been a sneaky move that actually was a huge benefit. Because look at this. Now he actually gets the whole bottom of the board back. Oh, and he can claim the bottom left corner. He didn't see it. No, now Midi can claim the bottom left corner of the board. That's not great. That actually would have been a killer move by Iron on top of the killer move he already had. But now Midi has a huge advantage in terms of claiming the rest of the board because he already has 2 corners. But Iron, that corner at the top left is available whenever you want it. It's right there, free for the taking. Instead, he's going to work his way around the rest. I don't know if Iron can prevent, or sorry, if Midi can prevent Iron from getting that corner at the moment. But Iron should take that corner immediately. Corner is safe. But at this point, I don't think Iron or Midi can actually prevent Iron from getting it. And it's actually looking really good for Iron. It looks like he has most of the board here. But he has to be careful with these last couple moves. Okay, now Midi can actually take the corner. Chooses not to. This looks like a clear win for Iron here. So it's the first win. So GG to Iron. Breaking the streak by Midi. And we're going to move on to our last game now. Not going to be a sweep by Midi today. We're ending with game 21, which is last card. Last game is last card. Also known as Uno by 99% of the world, other than the developers at N-Cube, who call it last card, apparently. And they've already used their skip, so they will be playing last card. Oh, and you know what? We actually have both players' streams, so I can show you Iron's hand here. I'll get that set up. This is a unique situation that hasn't happened very often in the tournament, but yeah, here we go. We're gonna see both players' hands at the same time. Technology. Yeah, you're probably right. Win. They probably just didn't have the rights. Or couldn't obtain them. Ooh, so Midi already on his last card. He just needs a 4 or a red, and he gets it. It's already over. I was ready to sit down and commentate this, but it's done. Midi going 4-0 just like that. That was the fastest game of last card I've ever seen. Wow. That was really something there. GG to Midi for the 4-0 finish. Midi's going to continue on in the tournament in the knockout stage. And let me write that in right now. GG to both players. We only have 2 more matches left in group stage before we have our final situation, and then once we know that, we can move on to knockout. Very exciting. Knockout should start within a week or so. We just have 2 matches left in Group D between Maybe I Am Doge, Lugia, and Reball, which I think are actually scheduled to happen very soon. Yep, GG. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks anyone who was watching. More matches on the way soon. That's it for now. If you want to know when matches are happening, you can join the Discord. Yeah, and we'll have more tourneys in the future if you're interested in signing up. See ya, everyone.